This is Honors Algebra 2 Pre-Calculus. We're doing 10.6 in Pre-Calc, which is parametric equations. So we're going to talk about eliminating the parameter, which just sounds kind of tough, but isn't really all that fancy. So what that means is getting rid of the t in this system of equations to write a single equation that involves only x's and y's. So the easiest way to do that is to pick the easier equation. Now, sometimes there's not an easier equation, but most of the time there is an objectively easier equation. Solve that one for t, and then replace the t's in the other equation, and boom, you're done. So we're going to do that twice. In example 2, we're going to do an a and a b. So when I look at a, my two equations are x of t equals 3t, and y of t equals 5t squared plus 1. Objectively, 3t is the easier equation. So I have that x equals 3t. I'm just going to get rid of the of t, right? Because x of t is just a notation that indicates that x is written in terms of t stuff. I don't need that. So I'm going to write x equals 3t. And I'm going to solve for t by dividing by 3. So I'm going to get an x over 3 is my t, right? I'm then going to take the second equation, and again, I'm going to lose the t because in a second, y won't be in terms of t. I'm going to write y equals, and instead of writing 5t squared plus 1, I'm going to write 5, and in parentheses, x over 3 quantity squared plus 1. And that answer is not wrong. If you want to simplify, you can. Like if you want to make that an x squared over a 9, you can. So you might see this as a 5/9 times an x squared plus a 1, right? Because the x would be squared and so would the 3, and that's also fine. But point being that you have eliminated the parameter at this step. Whether you're asked to simplify or not is mostly going to depend on what a specific teacher asks of you. Most of the time, I'm not going to make you simplify. You have eliminated the parameter at this step. You followed instructions. Now, in part B, my y equation is going to be the easier one. So if you look, my x equation has a square root and a t cubed, and it's kind of ugly. But my y equation is just t over 2. So my easy equation is going to be y equals t over 2. To get rid of that divided by 2, I'm going to multiply and get 2y is in place of my t. I'm then going to take this guy and plug into my x equation. So x equals the square root of, in parentheses, 2y quantity cubed plus 1. Now that answer is technically correct, right? That's my answer. So this was my correct answer, or this one, right? So here, that answer is fine. If you want to distribute the cubed, you'd get an 8y cubed inside there, so you'd get x equals the square root of 8y cubed plus a 1, and that's also fine, right? But again, your primary job is just to get rid of the t stuff and write an equation where you only have x's and y's.